Hello, my lovely people. Hope everyone is having a great day. Today is Sunday, and I haven't posted or shared a video with y'all in a while. So this is an update on my home buying process. Buying a home, you got to have some money. You got to have some money, especially if you get a new construction. I went towards new construction. I know originally I shared with you I was thinking about buying land. It's just a lot to develop the land, getting the land ready. Financing isn't as complicated if you do owner financing, but with me, what I'm trying to do, my goals, I just decided to go back to new construction because of the incentives.
Hey guys, Robert here. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to review a video by this creator. I believe her name is Nikki, or Nikki D is the name of the channel. And we'll be sure to put her contact information in the description below so you can watch the full video. But I thought it a good idea to review her video for a couple of reasons. So before we get into it, let me put some disclaimers out because some of you guys don't really hear the full matter. So I want to say this up front. This is not an indictment against this creator. What we're endeavoring to do here is take these videos and apply experience and expertise as it pertains to residential real estate to help those of you out there that might be in this situation to make sure that, number one, you're properly approved. That's my premise here. I don't think she's really been approved. And then number two, go into some of the points that she's making to help you all prepare for home ownership, because she makes some very good points. Now, with that being said, I also want to let you know that I am a lender, okay? 20 plus years in the business of residential real estate, brokering, wholesale, retail, every aspect of the business, as well as commercial lending. Why do I say that? To give you the provenance up front so you can go and check it out for yourself. We want to start training all of us to start going back and trusting but verifying, because that's very important, especially when you get ready to make one of the largest decisions in your adult life, and that is to become a homeowner, because most of us are going to use leverage and finance. So thank you in advance, Miss Nikki, for sharing your story, and hopefully we can all learn and move forward to make great homeowners in the future. Let's continue.
And I know some of the incentives that they give us is really not all that great. That's why I'm trying to make this video from the experience that I'm having right now to share with you all who never bought a house, who thinking about buying a house, who might have low or moderate income. So that's why I'm sharing this my experience with you all. Like I said, I don't mind being a Billy Goat or the whatever to share my experience, because if this is something you truly want, you can do it. It's just going to take a lot of dedication, a lot of planning, a lot of hard work.
Okay, so she mentioned a couple of things in the first segment. She mentioned that she initially wanted to buy raw land and build a home. I want to take a few seconds there because I get a lot of calls from people that have not gone through this process, and it sounds good. It sounds a lot easier to be able to buy a piece of land and develop, pardon me. But as she probably learned, that's really not the first option when you're a first-time home buyer, because there are a lot of costs that you do not realize when building from ground up. And one of the largest barriers is the lack of income or finances that you can put towards that process. So am I saying you can't build from the ground up? No, I'm not. But what people find is when you go buy raw land, just a few of the costs that aren't readily spoken about. Does the land percolate? Because typically if you're going to buy on land or build on land, half an acre or greater, you have to have your own sanitary system, a septic system. And so the wastewater, the gray water, has to be able to be absorbed into the ground within a certain period of time. And it's very intricate because we don't want to contaminate the groundwater. Okay. And so septic systems, perk tests, even before you get to a septic system, there's things that you have to do to prepare that land. If you're far enough out, you have to bring utilities. All these things cost money out of your pocket that you can't finance in most cases. Okay. And so she did mention owner financed. Sometimes you see these folks that'll go out and develop large tracts of land, bring in the utilities and so on and so forth, and have you do owner financing. I would challenge you guys, not saying that that's not an option for you to do either, but again, understand, are you going to have the abilities to get the site ready to build, the finances, and is it going to be the right type of land, okay, for you to build on? And then more importantly, you got to start looking at this owner carried financing, because a lot of you guys are paying 15% plus interest on it, and you really don't understand that. So these are just some of the things to think about. Number two, because she's not going with the land, she says, okay, now I'm going to go to a builder, new home building, specifically because of the incentives. This is what we have to understand about incentives. It's that, but there's no free money. And what I mean by that is this: if you're buying a home from a builder, there's a lot of things that we have to consider, but just staying focused on the context at hand, incentives. If a builder is giving you 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, you have to understand your plan as far as being in that home. You have to understand how long it's going to take the builder to build out that community, because if those incentives are given up front to help you get into the home and something happens and you have to sell before an 8-year period, well, a lot of times you're going to be competing against the builder and you won't win. And it's gonna lock you in or cause you to have to come out of pocket in the back end, because those incentives have locked you in. So not saying incentives are good or bad. What I'm saying is you have to understand it from a holistic picture of what it is that you are looking to accomplish as far as becoming a homeowner. Okay. So those are just a couple of things that she just brought out. Again, not trying to hit them all. What I'm trying to show you is there's a lot that goes into these things. And this is why you have to deal with the professional that not only that you know, like, and trust. Okay, there's got to be an affinity, attraction, but do they have the experience? Do they know how to look at these things and then break them down to you where you can understand and get you to see the things that you can't see? Because in my opinion, that's what a professional is paid for. Let's continue.
Like, I'm doing Walmart Spark again today because I know I need to come up with like $3,100 within 30 days. It could be done on top of my notary business, but content, getting paid from content, posting content, pushing out that content. So I was in a run, I ain't gonna lie, a couple days, maybe a week, just discouraged, like one thing after another, but I'm getting closer and closer to that finish line. So I finally was able to find a lender who gave me a game plan. That's why I say have your credit pulled. And sometimes you're gonna get people who don't want to work with you. They feel, well, I'm not no financial advisor. They think we know, and that's why I'm trying to educate you and let you know. Like, if you do meet someone and they're short with you, they very blank with you, watch my videos. Hopefully, I can express to you or share with you, or you can understand this process. So I was able to find a lender, because this new construction has a preferred lender, and if you use their preferred lender, you get incentives. And why I do the air quotes is because it's just what it is. Sometimes they just like to have their realtors, their loan officers, their money people in the mix. Okay, so they know it'll go through. It ain't gonna be a whole bunch of foreclosures, blase blase. People can really qualify.
Okay, so here is where the rubber meets the road, and I'm going to take my time. I wrote down some notes while she was talking. The first thing I want to address is the preferred lender and what a preferred lender is. 10,000 foot view, that's the lender that the builder owns. Okay, whenever you go through this process with a builder, more times than not, you'll get a document that's called an affiliated business list or arrangement, and these builders own 50, 51% of the lender. Sometimes they even own the title company. Is that against the law? No, it's not. But what that ought to tell you is this: who do you think the builder is out for? It's a for-profit business. And so All I'm saying is don't get confused. Don't get it twisted to think that they're there for you. It's an incentive for you to buy their product because that's what they do. I'm from the mindset, and I might be old school, but you want to break up those chains. Sometimes you have people competent enough to be a lender and the realtor. Okay. Very rarely do you find somebody that's building a house, financing the house, doing the title search for the house, and selling you insurance, because sometimes they own that. It's that one-stop shop. And some of us think that's a good thing, but this is why, and this segues into the second point, incentives. There is no incentives. You just don't know where you're being charged or where the money's coming from. And so a lot of you all go through that process because at the end of the day, you don't have the money for the down payment and closing costs. So that's a very important point, because the more you have, the more control you have. Now, am I saying don't take advantage of those monies? I'm not saying that, but you have to understand your horizon for living in the house. Therefore, you have to understand why you're moving into that property. And if you're not going to be there longer than the builder is, you really got to consider those incentives. All you got to do is listen online. And this is what a lot of people that are trying to sell now, because really it's a buyer's market, depending on what market you're in, because all markets are local. But if you're in an environment that has more listings and the time of the year that we're going into, then you have to be more aggressive with giving incentives and things of that nature, unless your property is in a very sought after area. These are things that professionals help you look at. All right. And so I said all that to say this. I like to break that chain up, but a lot of you guys can't because you don't have the money. So that's very important. That segues into the next step or part I want to speak on. She's mentioning, hey, I got to increase my hustle to make money. Not mad at her for that. But this is what I said earlier. I don't believe she's been approved. And this is what most builders and loan officers and folks looking to sell stuff, this is what they do. You're a lead. You're somebody that says, I want to buy. And so don't get that confused with being approved. I know for a fact if she's a 1099 employee, just from what she's saying, in my experience, she's not approved. Because as a 1099 employee, and this is what you need to know, you got to have a 2-year history of doing whatever that work is. And when I say a 2-year history, a 2-year tax filed history, if you want to go traditional, okay, and get the best rates possible. And we're looking at the net taxable income, not what you wrote off, not the gross, but what you pay taxes on. If she's increasing the hustle to try to get the $3,100, that's cool, but she's also has to qualify. So whoever this loan officer is that was willing to take time with her, the third thing that she's mentioning that you might not be able to pick up on is the credit is challenged. Okay. Anything under 680 is challenge credit, respectfully. You can get into a loan, FHA, with a 500 credit score if everything is in place. Most folks, as she was saying, with USDA starts at 580. Okay, but rates are going to be higher. It can be done, but it's not a guarantee because you got to look at what's on your credit report, lates, collections, things that may prevent you from moving forward. FHA 580. Okay, so what I'm saying is the loan officer, no shade to that person, is willing to work with you guys, but she's not been approved at all. She's trying to get approved, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if she watches this, she can let me know. But make sure you submit all of your documentation when you're going in to get pre-qualified, especially if you're in business for yourself. And if you don't work for somebody, if somebody doesn't collect your FICA and FUTA to pay to the government, you're in business for yourself. So you got to get those Schedule Cs, or if you're a corporation, right, S Corp, C Corp, we got to find out where the money goes and what you pay taxes on to get that average. You also need P&Ls, profit and loss statements, year to date. So her trying to hustle up some monies to make it look good, that's not how it works, because we're looking at averages. So she is correct in that she can use those avenues to make money, maybe for her down payment and closing costs, because they can source where the money came from. But when it comes time to figuring out the debt to income ratio, and when we look back 2 years to try to forecast 3 years going in the future, that possibly could be a problem. So just some more things to look at, because there's a lot of moving parts with this. And hopefully you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. If you're in this situation, make sure that whoever your lender that you're going to, that you know, like, and trust, you're not just going there because of incentives, but they've actually qualified you and you understand what you have to do going forward. Let's move forward.
The place that I'm looking at, the home I'm looking at is also in USDA territory eligibility. The address is, but you have to have like a 640 credit score. Now I know you don't have to have a 640 credit score, but they like for you to have a 640 credit score. Also, I'm getting approved with a 580 credit score. So that means I got a lot of stuff I got to clean up, work up, make sure my income stay consistent for the next 2 months, strong income with me being self-employed, doing gig work, being a 1099, independent downtime like I do now. But back to what I was trying to get you all to understand. If you really want a home, and it's really what you want, something that's modest, my home will be 3 bedroom, 2 baths. I will have a front yard. I will have a backyard. I will have a garage. And I won't be having neighbors like on top of me. I still have some yard. I still won't have neighbors. I'm going through hell right now in my situation. That's why I'm like, whatever I got to do, Lord, whatever I got to do. And I know things will work out in my favor because I've been going through this nonsense for so long. So, but you can't do nothing about miserable people, and we're not going to give that person no more glory, because we give glory to God. I don't talk about my faith a lot because I don't need to be criticized about, if I believe or not, just because I may curse. Some of y'all need to get cursed out. Some of y'all need to get told like what it is, and I don't put up with no mess. So that has nothing to do with me believing with God. But I do have faith. I have a lot of faith. Faith has got me through, and my faith has got me through a lot of things in life. Although I don't speak of God, I do believe in God. So let's get that out. But I don't need y'all questioning if I believe in God because I curse.
I think this is the most important segment in her video overall. And it's the encouragement that she gives you, number one. Number two, not being moved by what other people think based upon, how you're moving, how you believe. I wanted to leave that in, not trying to make this a religious type video, but it's very apropos in that it affects all of us. And sometimes, you just got to say it like it is and let people know where you stand. And that's not always a bad thing. Okay. So I do want to shout her out for that. And the last thing that she said that I wanted to point out before we move forward is this: being modest, living at or beneath your means. That is more important now than ever. And it's fine. Wherever you are, you have to identify where you are. I was always told this way by some of the elders in my life: hold your role. Okay. Quit trying to be somebody you're not. Play your hand. Okay. And when you do that, you live in your best life. You see, you ain't got to go back and forth. And so don't wait if you can. If you're younger, don't wait a long period of time trying to please other people, but get on the property ladder sooner rather than later so that you can have the space that you want, where you're not on top of people, where you're around people that are miserable for whatever reason, or have sticky fingers and just those toxic environments. If you've never lived in them, you can't feel what she's saying, but I can feel what she's saying. Okay. So you want to be in a place that's clean and safe where you can have some peace. And so again, I think this is the part of the home buying process, or just the life process, that we need to get to, so that we don't laden and burden ourselves down with a lot of stuff because it's based on other people and their thoughts. I hope that makes sense. Let's finish this thing up.
So anyway, so if you are planning on purchasing a house, a new construction house, find out if they have incentives. Go down that rabbit hole. Find out if it's in an area that you want to live in. Go tour the area on the weekends, during the weekday, in the morning, in the evening, and at night. Okay? Just randomly. Not every Monday, not every Tuesday, not every Saturday, not every Sunday. Randomly. Okay? If you can. That would give you an idea if the neighborhood is a lot of children, teenagers, drug activity, people that like to party on the weekends, people like to party 7 days a week. That'll tell you a lot. Is it a lot of working class people, people that don't work? Although that's your home, you're going to go in and outside your home. You still want to be able to entertain, have company. So I'm telling you all, find you a lender, have that lender pull your credit. You can have several people to pull your credit within 45 days. It won't drop your score too much. So by me paying off my little credit cards, I get a report from Credit Karma. That's not the best, but it did help you. I've gotten that my score is going up. So you want the mortgage score number, not just Credit Karma. Okay? You want, my phone says overheat. You want the credit, you want that number. I'm going to do everything humanly possible to make this happen. So that lender, that loan officer will tell you what you need to do. You may not like it. It may be some stuff on there. You're like, but damn, I'm still dealing with this item, on my credit report. But if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do, girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need to do.
Yeah, you got to do what you need to do. Love what she's saying. Just to recap, excellent advice. Drive the neighborhood randomly on different days, different times, so you could really get a feel for where it is that you're thinking about putting roots down for a significant amount of time. When it comes to your credit, there's a lot of different apps out here, but here's the deal. For the mortgage credit scores, currently, what runs the industry is the FICO version 2, 4, and 5. Okay? FICO version 2, 4, and 5, that's tied to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. If you're buying scores from someplace, Experian or what have you, if they don't have those scores, you don't have the mortgage scores. But you don't necessarily need to pay for those. If you're looking at a Credit Karma or something along those lines, here's the deal. No more than 9% of your available credit limit should be utilized where you're carrying a balance month to month on your credit cards. Okay, that's going to give you the lowest utilization possible. And if you're carrying a balance from month to month, if you're doing so because you think that's going to improve your score, you can stop doing that. But if you're carrying a balance, if you are a revolver instead of a transactor, you need to really look at that, because that's an indicator of there's not enough money going on. And do you want to tie yourself up for a significant amount of time to get into a home because you heard a salesman or a loan officer, somebody trying to make a commission? Once you sign on the dotted line, it's incumbent upon you to make that payment. So buyer beware. I'm trying to get you as much information up front as we possibly can so that you can make the best decision possible for you and your family. We can't cover all the boxes, but we can cover a lot of them so that you know that you're in a good position, not only now, but forecasting at least 3 years into the future. So if something happens, you have some maneuverability and have an exit strategy. Okay, that's the goal here. So I agree with her there, and you want to choose the right lender. One thing I will say as I get ready to get out of here is this. Credit reports cost money, and a lot of you guys like to run around the internet because you think everything is free, and the industry has trained people that way. So I'm just telling you up front, I can have a conversation with you. I'm not going to pull your credit. I'm not going to do a soft inquiry because it's about $110 every time I do so on a tri-merge. Okay. We're going to do those things for people that are serious and want to move forward, or I'll do it as much as possible as long as I get your credit card number. And see, when folks hear that, okay, they get a pause. Oh, they clutch their pearls. Well, there's companies out here that do that all day because they're trying to capture you into their system. And these are the companies that you guys are fussing and complaining about because they don't have your best interest in mind. They just have a big bag of money to capture the lead. Okay. And what they told you in the beginning never ends up being what happens in the end. So buyer beware. Caveat emptor. That's the spice of life. There's different levels and companies out here for everybody to deal with. You have to know who you want to deal with. So said all that to say this. Don't be an abuser in life. You can go to myfreeannualcreditreport.com. You know if your credit is bad. You shouldn't be applying anyway. But if you want a lender to give you a roadmap, a guide map, those are things that we do here as well if we have a fit, okay, for those people. If you come this way, you're gonna answer a lot of questions because we're trying to ascertain where you are. I don't want to discourage you, and I want to check your seriousness on becoming a home buyer. So with that, my time is up, but I thank you for yours. As I always say, guys, let's be good to one another. Let us let grace abound. And if you've gotten this far in the video, that lets me know that you have some affinity towards wanting to become a homeowner or something with residential real estate. Well, do yourself a favor and watch this next video right here. And if you're ready to reach out, the next step would be to have a 15-minute free consultation. The first 15 minutes is on me. It's free. My contact information will be in the description of the video. You guys stay blessed. And until the next time, indeed, y'all stay blessed.